Welcome to our discussion on what women want, a complex, evolving puzzle where social context really shapes desires.
I'm really excited about this topic. How do we begin to untangle such a layered question?
Well, it starts with understanding that women's choices aren't made in isolation. Instead, they're products of a hive-like dynamic, where preferences are constantly recalibrated by the social group around them, or what some call the female conformity bias.
So essentially, a lot of what a woman wants is influenced by what other women in her environment find desirable, right?
Exactly, and it all goes way back to ancient times. In prehistoric and tribal societies, a woman's immediate kin, like her mother, sisters, and aunts, formed the hive that set standards for a good mate, primarily focused on survival traits like strength, bravery, and the ability to provide.
It's fascinating how survival was literally a collective judgment about the best traits a man could have to protect and provide, isn't it?
Definitely, though it came at a price. That same social conformity meant that individual desires were tightly governed by group expectations. A woman who deviated from the clan's ideas risked serious repercussions, social exclusion, for example.
Right, so while there was safety in numbers, there really wasn't much room for personal choice back then.
Absolutely. And then, as societies became more organized with the rise of religion, the hive expanded. The church, alongside local religious leaders and influential, pious women, started shaping what mate characteristics were desirable. There was a strong focus on virtue, morality, and the ability to provide spiritual guidance.
Yep. So the influence shifted from just immediate kin to a broader moral community where the ideal man was defined by religious teachings rather than just survival skills.
Exactly. And this redefined what women wanted in a partner. A successful man now typically had to be pious, respectable, and capable of providing stability for a family. A kind of divinely sanctioned blueprint for family life.
But don't you think that sometimes the religious template was a bit too rigid? I mean, it left little space for a woman's own aspirations or a different kind of life.
That's a valid point. While that system certainly provided a clear, unified goal, and in many cases bolstered community survival, it also stifled personal fulfillment and individuality. It was a double-edged sword, safety and social stability on one side, and severe limits on personal agency on the other.
Right. And then, moving into modern times, we see a shift again, don't we? Post-French and Russian revolutions, the influence of the church waned, and women's hives became more local and secular.
Exactly. In that era, women started to draw inspiration from more immediate circles, like the nuclear family, close friends, and emerging societal norms. Television, literature, and later printed advice columns began to provide new templates on what was considered ideal, blending traditional notions with the rising emphasis on love and personal happiness.
I find that transition really interesting. It's like the expectations diversified. You had the old virtues lingering alongside the promise of romance and emotional connection.
Precisely. And then came Hollywood, the cinematic era, which introduced a mass media version of the hive.
Right. With icons like Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn, the imagery of a good life and a good partner became curated.
It's kind of like these cinematic icons set a sort of aspirational bar. Women began emulating styles, behaviors, and even relationship dynamics from films. That widespread shared exposure amplified the notion that a good catch wasn't just about being a provider, but about matching ideals depicted on the silver screen.
But at the same time, couldn't this also distort reality? When the idealized image is so glamorous, it might set unrealistic expectations for real-life relationships.
Certainly, that's been a major critique. There's often a gap between on-screen romance and everyday life. And as TV shows evolved, especially with long-form narratives like soap operas and later streaming series, the hive mechanism deepened even further.
Yes. With TV, we saw that the female reference group now included not just real people, but also fictional characters and their story arcs, which carried intricate lessons about love and conflict.
Right. And after all, shows let viewers feel emotionally invested over long periods. This constant, week-to-week reinforcement of certain ideals can really shape what women come to expect in their own lives, from grand romantic gestures to the idea that true love always conquers obstacles.
Absolutely. Now, with Instagram and social media, the hive is on steroids. It's like the global constant feed is one giant amplified highlight reel.
Exactly. Social media has taken the ancient bias, where women look to others for what works, and magnified it. Instead of just a local tribe, now women view a curated, often idealized version of success from across the world. The feed is full of stories about booming careers, perfect families, and glamorous lifestyles, all vying for attention.
And that can be overwhelming. It's, like having too many options rolled into one constant stream, which might lead to analysis paralysis, where every choice seems to have a counter-choice.
Exactly, and that's the essence of today's dilemma. Women are now seeing an impossible standard. They're told they can and should have it all: career, family, travel, beauty, and more. This creates a sort of highlight reel distortion where it feels like every woman is achieving perfection.
Right. That must create a lot of pressure. And it can undermine traditional family formation because choosing one path might feel like you're missing out on another facet of this ideal life.
Absolutely. There's research showing that this constant amplified social proof leads to delayed commitments, as well as high levels of anxiety and dissatisfaction. Women might struggle to set priorities because every ideal is, well, at odds with the other.
It's mind-boggling how something as natural as social learning turns into this high-pressure, conflicting algorithm in the modern era.
That's the crux of it. The same evolutionary wiring that once guaranteed survival now pushes women to chase multiple, often contradictory life paths. It's like their inner safety algorithm is overloaded with conflicting data from their digital hive.
Yup. And, this algorithm wasn't really designed for a 24/7 global feed, was it?
Precisely. In ancient times, the prompts were local and consistent, tied to survival. Today, the data comes non-stop from every direction. So, while the evolutionary benefits of conformity remain, the costs now include inner conflict and even delayed life decisions like marriage or starting a family.
It makes you wonder, though, is there a way for women to, filter out the noise and reclaim some individual agency?
That's the million-dollar question. The ideal seems to be that women develop what some call algorithm awareness, recognizing the hive influence while still carving out their own personal trajectories. It's about balancing that innate social pull with self-defined values.
I like that idea. But I have to ask, isn't there a risk that in trying to step outside the hive, one might lose the very support and sense of belonging that the hive provided in the first place?
That's a thoughtful critique. Yes, stepping away completely can leave a person isolated. The goal isn't to reject social cues entirely, but to consciously choose which ones to follow. It's like fine-tuning a radio. You want the clear station without all the static.
And for male readers, understanding this dynamic can foster more empathy. Recognizing that women's preferences might be, in part, responses to massive social pressures can help create better support systems in relationships.
Exactly. Instead of dismissing a woman's changing desires as capricious, it's more productive to see them as adaptive responses. When men understand that it's a shared social algorithm at work, they can engage with more compassion and perhaps even help ground the conversation around real, tangible life goals.
Yep. In the end, it's all about balance, honoring social nature while retaining individual choice. It's a fascinating evolution, from kinship groups through religious, secular, media, and now digital hives.
Absolutely. The journey shows that what women want has always been a dynamic interplay of collective input and personal agency. And as we move forward, fostering awareness of these influences might just be the key to genuine fulfillment.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation about not only the evolution of female desire, but also about the importance of understanding the social algorithms we all live by.
Indeed, here's to a future where, amid a vast digital hive, every woman can confidently say, "This is what I want," without the noise of endless comparisons.